Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to go over the eyeshadows and the lipsticks that I've purchased since January and do a sort of ranking, a roundup of these new releases because a lot of you haven't picked up every single one and maybe you'd like to see these compared in relation to each other. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. As you know, I have my online beauty consulting service, which is where we have a one-on-one Zoom chat. So what's interesting is that when you book a session with me, you may actually end up saving money because I can suggest products that will actually work for you versus whatever is popular at the department store. So if you need help creating like a custom kit for spring, summer, or winter still, go ahead and click the link in the description box. There is a website that is the scheduling calendar, so you can go ahead and click the day and time that works best for you. All right, so the idea here is just to talk about new releases, but only color. So only eyeshadows and only lipstick. I'm not going to do foundations and blush. It's really just going to be eyes and lips because that's what I have the most of. And this may not be a pure ranking because the eyeshadows that I have here I all love equally, but for different reasons. So let's go ahead and just dive into that, and I can give you ideas of who might appreciate this one versus that one because there's always so much coming out and I think it's nice to put things into context. Okay, so first up is from Chantecaille. This is the Giraffe collection for spring and this is the Giraffe Eye Quartet. So in this palette here we have a combination of matte and then more satiny shimmery eyeshadows. So you only get one matte in here and that's like the transition shade, and the rest are going to be more satin, more sparkly. This leans like neutral, just like a pure neutral, and it's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. Today I'm sticking to this side here and I did mix it with another palette that we'll talk about later. But I mixed these two here for a more neutral, slightly warmer eyeshadow look. Clearly with these ones here, they are more shimmery and more cool. Let's go ahead and do some swatches. Okay, so here are the swatches. You can see the different finishes and textures. Now, let's do some pros and cons. I like that this is a beautiful neutral palette. If you are a neutral lover, you're going to love this. It has the everyday neutrals, the everyday work colors. However, these two lighter, more satiny colors here are a little bit more intense. I did a whole dedicated video to this collection here and I did two separate eye looks and I used these ones here. As you can see, they're more satiny, they're more shimmery. So I think it just depends how you use it. I would use this color here and maybe just add it to these over here. That way you do get more of a satin finish, but it's still going to live in the neutral family. I really like this palette. It's what I'm wearing today. I think it really is just a great neutral workhorse palette, but I could see how some people might be turned off by that one pearlescent shade that's a little bit more intense. To that, I would say you don't have to use it every day. I say this all the time. When you buy an eyeshadow palette, you don't have to use every single one every single day. You could reserve that for maybe a night out, something a little bit more flashy. But I think if you stick to the other colors, you're going to be really happy. And what I'm wearing today with Giraffe here is also a mixture of Tom Ford. Now, this is the Tom Ford Rose Topaz palette here, and this is the new eye color quad creme or creme. So this is a cream to powder finish. I've also done a whole video on this palette right here. So here you have all four satin finish. You don't have a single matte in here. And it's called Rose Topaz, which is very confusing. At first I thought this would be more pink or more lilac, maybe this one. I don't really know where rose comes into play here, but it's definitely more of a neutral, cool leaning palette. This has more cool tones to it. This I thought might be like a chocolate brown, but it's more of a charcoal. So think of like a very, very, very dark gray. This is going to lean way more cool than the Chantecaille palette. I'm going to go ahead and do some swatches next to Chantecaille. Okay, so here we have the swatches underneath of Tom Ford. We can see a difference in the finishes here. Like I stated, these are not matte, but I think there's only like this shade down here, sorry, over here, that's more of like that topper finish. The quality of the new cream eyeshadows here from Tom Ford is amazing. They're so easy to apply, so easy to blend. It really feels like a cream to powder hybrid. And I don't know if the swatches here are doing it justice, but when you wear it on the eyes, it is definitely more cool leaning. Something about when you blend these out, it will be cool. So again, the name is confusing, Rose Topaz. I was thinking something maybe a little bit pink or peachy. Not the case whatsoever. But I don't know. These are the differences here. I think there's a difference in finishes too. I think Tom Ford maybe looks a little bit more subtle, maybe a little bit less satiny and shiny, but it's going to be more cool. Whereas Chantecaille, it's going to be more neutral. And you have a split 50-50 between warm and cool. Now, the last item here, last but not least, is from Chanel, and this is definitely very warm. This is the Mediterranneen palette. Now, I know as the days go on, this is becoming harder and harder to find. I have heard that there are still some counters sporadically that have these in stock. If I can find any links that work, I will go ahead and put those down, but I don't know how readily available this still is. You may have to go ahead and call different boutiques and counters near you. I'm gonna go ahead and do swatches down here of this one. All right, so this one here from Chanel is very different. They're all in a beautiful satiny, shimmery finish. I think that there's one shade over here that's, oh wait, no, I think it's over here. Sorry, this one is more of a topper finish. So it's a little bit more grainy, just like a hint, like a hair more grainy. But this entire palette is warm. It screams summer, Mediterranean, you know, the south of France. You can hear the waves crashing as you're applying the palette. It's very sun inspired. So it's very warm. And the finish is more shimmery, not as subtle maybe as some of the other eyeshadows. Like I don't know, it's not as subtle. Even though like you have like a darker color here, the finish is beautiful. Again, I've done a whole video dedicated to this one palette. And I do love it, but it's very different from the first two. Unless you go into the dark, more khaki green color, you're not really going to get a dark look. It's going to be very light, ethereal, warm, golden, like wash of color. So it's going to be very, very light and fresh. And so I think just in context of everything we've talked about, if you're trying to choose between one of these three, it really depends what you're trying to achieve. I love all three of them. I'm very happy that I have all three, but I don't think that one eyeshadow palette here can do what the other one is doing. I think the finishes are very different. I think the color story is different. Like Chanel is only warm, Tom Ford is only cool, and then Chantecaille is a mixture of warm and cool. So perhaps that can help you figure out what to get at home. Okay, so I think that does it for our eyeshadow portion of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to lips. And for those of you curious, I have started a personal email writing campaign to Chantecaille to see if they can turn this eyeshadow into a single, because I think it's really pretty and I think a lot of people would wear it as a single. All right, moving on to lip products, which is remarkable because I somehow purchased more lipsticks and lip products than I did eyeshadows in like 6 weeks. Wow. Okay, let's touch on the nudie ones. Let's go into Chantecaille again to start. This is the Lip Chic formula. This is like an ultra buttery hydrating lipstick that's infused with hyaluronic acid, but it's very glossy and it's not going to be the most long wearing because it's a glossy lipstick. These are two nude shades. There's Freesia and there's Jasmin. So Freesia is more of a cool toned pink, almost like a whisper of a lilac creamy pink. And then Jasmin is just your classic peachy lip color. Jasmin reminds me a little bit of like an Audrey Hepburn 1960s peachy salmon pink. These are going to be very nice for just like an everyday nude because they're so light. You don't even need a mirror. You can really throw these on. You can reapply these during the day as a lip gloss and a lip balm 2-in-1 because they are nourishing and hydrating on their own. So they're nice for that. You don't have to look in the mirror. You don't have to worry about drawing over your lips, and you don't have to pack a chapstick with you. And these, like the lip cheeks here, I would not apply a fresh coat and then throw on a mask unless it's like one of those K95 ones that like really sticks out far away, but they will stain your lips a little bit. So as long as the color isn't fresh, you can go ahead and wear a mask over top. All right, moving on to some Chanel. We have the Chanel Rouge Coco Baume. This is beautiful gold and white, so fresh, so nice and light. This is part of the spring release from a few weeks ago, and these are not limited edition. These are permanent, but I've heard from a few of you that you're having issues getting your hands on these. There is just an issue with distribution, with shipment at the moment, so these are permanent. If you're not getting them at your counter, or if they're sold out at your counter, that's only temporary, hopefully. These should be restocked. So think of this, this shade here is 914 Natural Charm. Think of this as a tinted lip balm, because I know that there have been different versions of this similar, like the Rouge Coco Flash, which is like a glossy lip balm. This one here is, yeah, a tinted lip balm. So as you can see, it's not as slick, not as shiny, not as glossy. I don't want to say that this is waxy because it isn't, but compared to the lip cheeks, you can see that the texture is more stiff. It's not going to be as slippy. You really have to look at this as a lip balm with color to it. There are other colors to choose from. I went for like an everyday nude. So this, again, you can just reapply very, very quickly. You don't need a mirror, and it is a lip balm. Think of this as a lip balm first with some color. I like to use this type of product at home if I want to just like apply some chapstick, but I want to add a bit of color. Or let's say I've worn a nude lip earlier that day and it's after lunch and I want to touch up a little bit. I want to add some lip balm. I go into a product like this that matches my lip color, and I sort of just revive the lip. I add a bit of moisture and go on with my day. Moving on to the Rouge Allure Velvet. This is the classic bullet velvet lipstick. It's like a bullet matte lipstick, and this is the Comet collection that came out earlier this year. So here we have the classic pop-up here. Love that, so fresh. And this is the shade 118 Bois de Rose Astral, which means like an astral rosewood. So the whole Comet collection is all about like, I was going to say asteroids, not asteroids, but comets in the sky. So the fact that it's an astral rosewood makes a difference, or, you know, it makes sense. And this is just like your classic bullet lipstick. It's much more saturated, much more opaque. It's that gorgeous pinky nude. I mean, a rosewood is just like a fancy way of saying a pinky nude. And this is just like a classic bullet version. So I would go ahead and wear this like as my lip color for the day, and then go in afterwards just to revive it with this. I think this is a really great duo, a great combination if you like that type of extra thing that I do, where like I have a lipstick for the day and then a tinted lip balm in the same shade to revive my lips after lunch. If you are a nude lip lover, you will be very, very happy, very content living within this lip shade range. Now I have more lips to choose from. I have one last nude, and then we're going into some beautiful bold reds. Okay, moving on, we have the new Sisley. This is the Phyto Rouge Shine lipstick. I did a whole video dedicated to these, swatching, comparing, and also just talking about the new formula. So this is a blend of a lipstick, a lip gloss, and a lip balm. and it really is true to its name. You really get, especially the darker colors, a very intense opaque payoff, but it's very glossy and also very hydrating. This here is number 21, a sheer rosewood. So this will be our last nude here for you guys. This is going to be just as glossy, if not maybe a little bit more glossy than the Chantecaille lip cheeks, but the difference is the colors are more opaque. They're more intense in payoff and they stain a little bit more. It's just that the Sisley lipstick is really just like a lipstick with gloss and lip balm, whereas the lip cheeks feel more balmy, more glossy, and more like a lip care product. So as I stated earlier, if you prefer nudes and neutral lips, you will be very happy in this wheelhouse and in this selection here of new lip products out on the market. All right, let's move on to the reds. Now I have a refill here because the Sisley lipsticks do come with refills that you can purchase, so you can switch these out. And this one here is the Sheer Red Love. Now it says Sheer Red Love, but it doesn't exactly look or wear very sheer. So this is the swatch here. As you can see, it's not very sheer. It's definitely a very intense glossy red lipstick. It's so beautiful. It's so flattering. It's so fresh and so spring. I think this is a gorgeous color for the springtime months. And as you can see with the Sisley lipsticks, when you go with a darker shade, it's more opaque, more intense. The nude rosewood one, you could see more color, but clearly with the red here, you see just the more intense color payoff. Now let's move on to what I'm wearing on my lips today. This is from Guerlain. This is part of their spring launch. This case here, this beautiful velvet, is the Burgundy case. And then the lipstick itself, this is number 1925. This is Roi des Rouges, which translates to King of Reds. And the entire like Guerlain Rouge, Allure, G, Velvet lip formula is amazing. I think that the velvet lipstick collection from Guerlain is criminally underrated. It is just so incredibly comfortable. It feels like you have absolutely nothing on your lips. It feels like feather, feels like the lightest powder. It is so incredibly long wearing. This lipstick survives eating, drinking, mask wearing. It will last you several hours. And so, as you can see, it's a very intense, bright, warm red, which I love. I think it's so flattering, so beautiful. And here we have it in comparison to Sisley. Clearly, this is more of a classic lipstick, not as glossy. But I really think that, you know, there is a reason and an occasion for a glossy or a matte lipstick. It really is up to you. But I would say that the Guerlain one is going to be like so incredibly long wearing. You could wear this for several hours and not have to touch it up, not have to move it. It's, you know, it's not going to move. It's just going to stay in place. And it also really stains your lips. So it's just a really, really wonderful formula. I love this entire Guerlain lipstick formula. I would recommend that in general, but this red in particular, I think is gorgeous. And then last but not least, we have something here from Dior, and this is part of their Houndstooth collection. I thought for sure I was going to miss out on this because this came out in like, I want to say New Year's time, like right after New Year's, and I was going to Barbados, and I was like, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But then it became available here at Sephora, but it's still available on the Dior website. And this color here is number 975 Opera. And it's just a really gorgeous, more of a plummy berry color. And it's also in a velvet finish. You know, velvet lipsticks have really found their place on the market because they are longer wearing than a glossy lipstick, than a regular bullet lipstick, but they're so comfortable to wear. And so this is Opera here. Clearly it's very different. It's darker. It's more of like an intense berry color. But I like all three of these. If I had to choose a single favorite, that would be very difficult. I think for today, my favorite red or favorite dark color would be the Guerlain one. I just think it's so lovely. I think it looks beautiful. It just is very complimentary to my skin tone. Second favorite, I would go with Sisley because I think it's so beautiful and very spring. And then last but not least would be Dior. I just like the shade. It's very different than what I usually own. And also the case is amazing. This lipstick case from Dior is also refillable, so you can keep the gorgeous case and then just purchase refills when you want. That's what I did, although they keep coming out with more amazing cases, so I just keep buying more cases. It's clearly their strategy is working because I just keep buying more, but theoretically I could just buy lipstick refills instead of the whole case itself. All right, that is my roundup of these new releases. It's kind of crazy how much comes out in like a month and a half because this isn't even the end of spring collections. You know, there's the Chanel Le Blanc. I'm certain there will be a couple other new ones sneaking in. I think around May is when we'll see summer releases. Honestly, probably earlier. I think the summer collections will come out in like April, which is so crazy. It's always like a whole season ahead of us, which is kind of annoying because you don't even get the chance to like properly live in your like new makeup and your seasonal collections, but it is what it is. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this type of video, if you like this format where I just like go back and look at, 2 months of new releases. I focused on new on the market, not just like new to me. I thought this would be helpful for you. So let me know if it's helpful. Let me know if you want me to continue the series on my channel. If you're new to my channel, I talk about nothing but luxury makeup. So I would highly encourage you to subscribe, and you can also hit your notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post a new video. And on that note, I think that's all I have for you guys for today. So thank you all so much for stopping by. Hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.